Imagine a future where a simple treatment could not just manage but completely cure sickle cell disease, transforming lives and ending the pain and complications caused by this genetic disorder. With advancement in stem cell therapy and gene editing, that future is closer than ever before. Stem cell therapy is a promising treatment for curing sickle cell disease. Sickle cell is a genetic red blood cell disorder caused by a mutation or an abnormality in the gene that is responsible for producing red blood cells, causing the red blood cells to form crescent or sickle shape. And these red blood cells that is sickle in shape can block blood vessels, causing pain and damage to these blood vessels. It can also cause organ damage and other complications. Stem cell therapy is a promising treatment for the cure of this disorder. This therapy replaces the abnormal red blood cells with healthy ones in the bone marrow. It also stimulates the bone marrow to produce healthy red blood cells. Where do we get this stem cell from? Stem cell is gotten from a donor blood cells or a donor red blood marrow. That is where stem cells are taken from. It can also be taken from the umbilical cord of a donor. In rare cases, a patient's own cells can be genetically modified to produce normal cells. That is what we call gene editing. In preparation for stem cell transplants, a patient goes through a process called myeloablation. In myeloablation, the patient's red blood cells in the bone marrow is destroyed with chemotherapy or radiation therapy. And then healthy red blood cells are introduced into the patient's bloodstream. They migrate to the bone marrow where they begin to proliferate and produce healthy red blood cells. Once the bone marrow starts producing healthy red blood cells, it shows that we are on the right track and the patient is winning. So it will take several weeks for these engraft cells to start functioning properly. In this situation, the patient requires close monitoring to prevent infection because this stage is a very critical and crucial stage of the patient's life. In this stage, you watch out for infection because this is the period that the patient is prone to infection, and it can also have graft versus host infection. What this means is the infection that is gotten from the donor and transferred to the patient. These are some of the complications of stem cell therapy, where infection is introduced from the donor to the recipient or the host. What are the advantages of stem cell transplants? The advantages is that there is potential for a cure. Successful transplantation can result in complete cure of sickle cell disease. Another advantage is that it can reduce the symptoms of sickle cell disease. Patients will experience fewer pain episodes and less organ damage. And this will eventually improve the patient's quality of life. Even though stem cell therapy has promising cure for sickle cell disease, but it also comes with its challenges. And the challenges are that, one, finding a compatible donor may be difficult, but if you have a sibling that is willing to donate for you, that is best. A fully matched donor from a sibling is ideal, but most patients lack that. If that is not possible, you can find a donor from somebody that is nearly compatible. That is what is called haploidentical donor. That is, this donor is partially matched or the donor is unrelated. The other challenge of stem cell therapy is that there are risks of complications. There may be graft rejection where the recipient gets the graft, or there may be graft versus host disease or infection. That is a serious challenge. After one has gone through the pain of getting stem cell transplants, and at the end, the body may reject it, and that could be very distressing. There is increased risk of infection, like in myoablation, when the recipient's blood cells or red blood cells, bone marrow, are destroyed with chemotherapy and radiation. It can lead to infection because other blood cells are destroyed alongside with the abnormal red blood cells. Other normal blood cells are destroyed, and this can make the client to be prone to infection. Another challenge is that this procedure may be very expensive, especially in developing countries where there is no advanced technology or where there is no government subsidy or government support, where the patient alone is footing the bills. This could be expensive and challenging, particularly in low resource settings where sickle cell prevalence is high. This procedure is expensive and not widely available. There are recent advances in the treatment of sickle cell therapy, and the recent advances is gene editing or gene modification. Like just as we said earlier, that there could be challenges like getting a compatible donor. The advancement in technology is that the client's own blood cells are genetically modified to produce normal red blood cells, and this is called gene editing. And the form of gene editing is CRISPR-Cas9. This kind of editing is done with the client's own red blood cells, and this eliminates the need for a donor. The other advancement is reduced intensity conditioning. What this does is that it reduces the toxicity of the pre-transplant conditioning. Another advancement is that newer methods are being developed to reduce the toxicity of the pre-transplant conditioning. And then ongoing research is expanding eligibility criteria and improving outcomes for more patients. So as we are even here talking, research is ongoing in order to improve transplant outcomes for patients, and also to increase the eligibility criteria for patients in this stem cell therapy. Stem cell therapy is transforming the treatment for sickle cell disease. While there are challenges, but there are also advancements that is being made in this field of treatment, and it brings the goal for a universal cure to reality. Stem cell treatment, the promising treatment for sickle cell disease. So, what do you think about the potential of stem cell therapy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about this fascinating topic, be sure to check my other videos that talks about sickle cell. Thank you.